What the hell was that? That was got to be the weirdest Morse code World War I thing I've ever heard. I don't know what that was going on with my video. Anyways, great to see you guys. It's been what, nearly a month? For goodness sakes, this is nuts. Let's go right off the bat with the people that are here. Thanks, William Arends. I'm super glad, obviously, to see you, and I'm glad that you did send me some material. I haven't read it, but I at least put it into a nice format. Great to see you as well, Eric. I hope you're doing well. Tolemykus, thanks for the quote. Let's go to your quote right off the bat here. Gentlemen, I don't know whether we are going to make history tomorrow, but at any rate, we shall change geography. British General Sir Charles Harrington. I don't know too much about him. June 6, 1917. Thank you for being right around where we are. Eve of Battle of Messines Ridge. And the weird thing is, when I was reading your quote earlier on there, I'm wondering if he, like, what did he mean by geography? Did he mean like physical and or political or both or what? It's just, I just think that's kind of neat. Anyways, who else is here? A few others. Great to see you, Harro Bosma, and great to see you as well, Brian R. Smith. So let's, oh my God, and there you are, Meandering Mike, and as you can see, in honor of you, I'm wearing you know what. And Brian R. Smith, will we get any screenshots from Can Games World War I Gaming? We possibly, I'm not sure if I have them. I've got, okay. I will say this, Brian R. Smith. I was starting to get a video ready. I'll see if I do have it. I think it would probably be better to actually do a proper video. Like I want to do a little bit of a post-mortem or whatever. And because I have all the I have the actual setup of the final thing, and I actually did put it up on the game, up on the table. So it'll be neat to go over and talk about you know what was said. I'm going to say this: it was freaking awesome, Brian R. Smith. I couldn't believe how well it went. Great to see you, Greg Hunter. Hope you're doing well. And Hissy Cat, awesome to see you as well. Let's see if I can get, and Charles Latora, hope you're doing well. I was going to call you Charles R. Smith. And you know what? I'm going to have to try. I'm sorry about that, unless I get some anti-glare stuff. It seems like I'm now getting to the point in life where reading glasses are like super duper no longer optional. Anyways, let me get to this. I'm going to have to remove this, and I'm going to add this one to there. There we go. So let's go on with the narrative. Yeah, like we said, it's been about a month for ages. Oh, Tolemykus, I know when he said change the geography. Thanks, Tolemykus, because I was thinking the first thing I thought of when he said we're going to change the geography, I was like, yep, that's for sure. We're probably going to get into it later on a little bit, but it is a little bit of a tie-in to what's been going on along the Arends front down in Italy there. Oh my gosh, I actually do have I did a scan of one of the books. I think it's from the Caporetto book, so we'll go take a look at that. And it was corroborated actually by Indian Idol this week on the Great War. He also mentions it. But anyways, let's go. Let's start off. Two other things I'm going to mention. One, it's been a month off, so I'm just going to get back into the groove. Second, I'm still sick, so you know, use that. Anyways, welcome everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. Please let me know what you've been up to. I did notice that Meandering Mike, you did some kind of tour or whatever. Yes, Charles Latora, I almost did it again. Charles Latora. I'm way behind in your videos, but I'll get there. But I noticed, Meandering Mike, that you did some kind of tour of your war games. That'll be kind of neat. So anyways, let's go into the live stream fact checker. Interesting tidbits. Zippity dip. Hold on here. What is that? The largest explosion to date with explosives and artillery barrages. Really? I didn't know. Oh my God! Yeah, that big giant crater is the one I think you're talking about. I think that's what you're mentioning. Anyways, let's get back to this. Yeah, let's go through the list and find out a zillion things that we're not going to be end up talking about, but we would like to talk about, or I would anyways. So on May 24th, so these little bits are from the war summary, but unfortunately I had a little glitch with my computer, so you're not going to actually see these headlines. Later on we will, but I wanted you to at least see these or bring them up. May 24th, the Allies agree to use the convoy system. I don't know how quick that's going to start ramping up or whatever, but at least now I think someone finally clued in and saw the numbers and went, oh my God, I can't believe that it actually does work. Brusilov's been promoted. So there, as you know, there's been still, I mean, we're just getting into the nick of things with the chaos of what's going on in Russia right now. But they just got rid of whoever. But I think Brusilov is in charge of most of the armies right now. I think a lot of you guys know later he's also going to end up becoming joining the Bolsheviks, I do believe. Anyways, French mutinies have been going on for over a month. I found that out. I've been wondering when that was going to start because the Nivelle offensive has just collapsed. As we know, that you know, the Mr. 48 hours will stop the offensive if we don't make a breakthrough in 48 hours. How many weeks ago was that? Edith Wharton, Fighting France, page 144. As you know, I freaking love this author. She's amazing. Let's do that super quick because we are going to go through a bunch of other things. I'm just going to stop the screen quickly and go and grab the picture. I just find her her prose is just amazing. I mean, I don't know what her other stuff is like, but I just find this, she's just good. Anyways, let me put the thing on here. Doink. And you see it. I'll get rid of me. So it's on the left-hand side there. If you guys can see that, I've got to grab my glasses and you guys won't see the glare, which is perfect. Even if, so she's talking about as she's going into some French towns and noticing that as they're in the British sector now. And so there's like, it's just overrun with British soldiers and so on and so forth. Even if all these tall youths had not been in khaki and the girls with them so pink and countrified, one would instantly have recognized the passive northern way of letting a holiday soak in instead of squeezing out its juices with feverish fingers. I don't know. I just, like I said, I just love that type of stuff. So here we're going to get rid of that and then get back to me since you guys can't see anything. And then I'm going to go back to the narrative to share it. Hold on here. And then here we go. All right. If somebody can find out what the heck that word is down there, can you see that thing? Oh, good morning, Zoe Dufour. Hope you're doing well. Is who also happens to have the Edith Wharton book, Fighting France. Is this thing here? That is one bloody long word, isn't it? But I don't know what. Well, we've got William Arends there and Harro Bosma. You guys both know German, so maybe you can help me out here. What in the God's green earth is that? Maybe I'll put it in the comments and you guys can cut and paste. Hold on, I'll pop it into the comments. Like, what in the hell is that thing? There you go. As far as I know, I did it right. Also, it blew me away that this is an actual term. I just thought this was like a modern term, but I noticed it twice this week in the articles of that this term nonplussed was used. I just thought that was rather neat. So here we're going to go for some of the previous war summaries that you guys I don't have queued up because I lost the information, but at least I had written down the footnotes for it. I just wanted to go through a few things because truck for hauling off dead bodies. Yeah, it's a good one though, Meandering. I'm going to put your little thing on there for sure. It's yet again with German words or the way they're able to put a huge amount of meaning in one word. It's just mind-boggling. But anyways, there we go. May 12th, the withdrawal of the Germans to the Hindenburg Line or Operation Albrecht is now being rephrased as the Big Somme retreat in the English, in the Allied papers or the Globe. This is another thing I wanted to start mentioning. I'm not really sure if this is like I maybe have to backtrack a bit, but I'm hopefully you guys can put your little eyeballs on it as well. And maybe you guys will start noticing. I'm starting to notice a few trends with the Globe newspaper now. The war summary is getting shorter. There seems to be a lot more censoring of information, perhaps. Like I said, I don't know. Secondly, it seems like Officialese, that type of deliberately confusing, or we say a lot but not really saying anything type of wordage or whatever, or using the same stuff over and over again, seems to be starting to creep in a heck of a lot more. At least I think so. And thirdly, I'm not sure yet again, but I'm starting to notice entries from the Associated Press popping in. And the Associated Press is an American-owned organization, as far as I know. And I don't remember seeing any of those in the Globe before. But now that the United States is with the Allies, maybe their stuff is now allowed in. Like is in considered not, you know what I mean? It's not neutral anymore. I don't know. I just find it really neat. Really? Are you serious? Are you serious? And here I was thinking, Harro Bosma, I'm not kidding you. I thought Meandering Mike was being some kind of, yet again, trying to pull my leg. and he's awfully good at it. So I thought that's for sure that's what it was. And it's either that or that. Oh, brother. So Meandering Mike is probably, oh, I can't believe this. Anyways, we're just going to go on with it. May 14th, mentions an attack on Zeebrugge. And like I said, is this a lead up or perhaps intelligence gained for the eventual one? I think what do they use, ships or something to try to block up the canal, that little entryway to get out of there, out of Zeebrugge in April 1918. In May 14th, the Sikorsky Ilya Muromets is mentioned after crashing near Stanislav. Crew of 6, man. This thing is huge. It's been around since 1913. That blew me away. May 16th, aerial attacks on submarines. Yet again, I just find that's really interesting. I just find that, oh, okay. Meandering Mike says cadaver is the first root word. Thanks for that. Like I said, I thought maybe you were just trying to pull my leg because you're so bloody good at it. May 17th, continued mention of activity along the Isonzo front. Things seem to be heating up. I am shocked. I didn't find, just found this out a little while ago, that Caporetto is not till, October or something of this year. So I guess it sounds maybe like the Central Powers are trying to like maybe do this knockout punch just before winter kicks in. I don't know. But I mean, we're only at the 10th battle of the Isonzo right now, and there's 2 more to go. Well, Caporetto is number 12. I just thought that was amazing. Engagement question of the week. Yet again, has Officialese become more apparent in the latest war summaries compared to previous ones? I'd love you to find out about that, or like keep your eyes on it. Again, thank you guys for over and over and over again with this. And hold on here, I'm going to pop on Meandering Mike because I want to see that. Yes, no, it's just you're good at it, so I just assume that's what's going to happen. But you're right. It's almost like with the wolf thing there. Whatever the hell it is, about crying for a wolf or something. Anyway, let's go on with who or what am I in World War I trivia. You can see what's happening in the past three rounds that we had. And yeah, let's do the trivia start off, and then we're going to go off to the 2020. I think, remember, I was mentioning, well, we've only done one so far, but I really enjoy the I would like to do more of them, is going 20 years in the past and 20 years in the future. So we'll take a look at a few articles or headlines from 1897 and then see what the heck's been going on in 1937. It's pretty neat. I love doing this stuff. So anyways, let's go to the, what the heck am I going to say? Oh yeah, the who or what am I in World War I. So anybody new, you just get a point, even if you just say anything. Doesn't matter. You're going to get a point. If you get it right, it's you get an additional 6 points. Not usually, it starts off fairly obscure, and I try to get it a little bit more specific. And lately, it's been something like I've been in the news recently, a lot recently, like according to the Great War, not now, but not kind of. It's a little bit, but anyways, it's not really this. But I wanted to use 6 good clues. So here you go. Here's your first one. I fought in the Austro-Prussian War and the Franco-Prussian War. Who am I? And that's your first clue. And we're going to go down towards the thingamajigs here in the 2020. And I'm going to go and take a look at some, I'm going to go and grab the pictures. So we're going to start looking at the 1897 ones, and then we're going to go to the 1937 ones. Also, I would like to say that this is super quick. This is raw as you can imagine. And Tolemykus is going to get a point for Wayne Newton. But you are incorrect, Mr. Tolemykus. And I'm going to give you your second clue while I queue up the pictures or the scans of the headlines or whatever. I sure seem to not like social democrats. Who am I? And we got another one. Ooh, I like it. But Harro Bosma says Falkenhayn. You are incorrect, though, but you're going to get a point. Oh, nice one. Oh, my God. I remember there was that lecture that, darn it, the World War I Museum Memorial just did a few weeks ago that I didn't get to go see, which is on Falkenhayn, for crying out loud, which would be freaking awesome to go and watch. Meandering Mike says Van Roon. You are incorrect, but you're going to get a point. And I'm going to give you your third clue. I was a board member of the Jung Deutschland, a kind of German Boy Scouts. Who am I? And let me get into the pictures, please. And like I said, it's not really, I mean, it's like I said, I've just exported the PDF thingamajigs, but I wanted you guys to take a look. And we'll try to, ooh, I like that one. Tolemykus says Stalin, but you are incorrect, considering what's about to happen. All right, let me just go to the stops. Ooh, I liked yours as well. Meandering Mike says Mulkey, the not so elder, but you are incorrect, but you're going to get a point. Hold on here. I'm going to put on the, oops, present, share screen. There. And there, you guys can see that. Like I said, I'm just going to go quickly here. I just wanted you guys to kind of get a bit of context to what was going on 20 years ago, and then we're going to jump ahead 20 years in the future. I thought I just like doing these things. All right, so, and here's your next clue. I was put in charge of Belgium by the Kaiser. That should be a biggie, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, so there you go. A grip on Thessaly. The Turks unwilling to lax their hold. I have no idea what the heck is going on in 1897 for this type of stuff, but you guys may know. Manufacturing opinion. Germany and Russia backing the Sultan. Isn't that cool? William Arends says Bethmann Holweg. You are incorrect, but you're going to get a point. I'll try to get rid of my the glare. So here's your next one for 1897. Fast steamship service. Where is it? The Prince of Wales at Canterbury is teaching cows to observe the Sabbath, and there's a Japanese loan. Like, what in the living hell? So I'm going to give you your next. I think that's why I grabbed it when it was like teaching cows to observe the Sabbath. I was like, I got to share this with you guys. This is nuts. So here's your next clue. My plans on the division of Belgium along linguistic lines created quite a stir. Who am I? Falkenhausen. Harro Bosma says, no, you are incorrect. I got to remember to stop being whatever, but you're going to get a point. Alf Ellerton, Meandering Mike says, you're going to get a point, but you are incorrect. Let me get to the next 1897 thing. A life sentence for King Humbert's assailant. I don't even know who King Humbert is. Panic in a church at Pisa. Several fatalities. A Norway town is wiped out by fire. So that was happening in 1897. The Great Jubilee. Britain gratified by President McKinley's course. Doesn't he have a mountain named after him or something? Canada's Jubilee tariff. Magnificent pageants and festivities. And I'm going to have to give you guys, boy, I can't believe you guys haven't got this yet. The Spanish cabinet crisis. Hold on. What the heck's going on there? An indefinite suspension of the chamber. Cabinet reconstruction probable. The Liberals' leaders attack. Ooh. Oh, my God. Hold on here. I'm going to put, Brian R. Smith, you got it. Tolemykus, I'm going to put yours on because I love it. Field Marshal Colmar Friar von der didn't he at the very end, was he the von der Goltz? Isn't he down right now in Palestine as far as I know? But you're going to get a point for that. You know what, Tolemykus, and I can't give you an extra point because you're so close to the first place. I was going to give you a bonus point because I love your freaking clue. Brian R. Smith gets it though. Well done. Moritz von Bissing. Yeah, and we're just going to, I'm just going to get into until we get to, So now we're into 1937. I'll stop this for a second, and then I'm going to go into the whatever. Yeah, Moritz von Bissing. And I'll give you your last clue. Yes, it is. I died in April of 1917 in Brussels, which I thought was kind of cool. The same city that Edith Cavell died in, whom I issued a warrant for her eviction. Oh my God. That's probably that bloody auto. No, I'm going to have to say it myself. But obviously it wasn't for her eviction. It was for freaking, she's toast. All right. And there's the answer. Moritz von Bissing. And for all I know, he was a bit of he got fired, I think, earlier before the Great War for his controversial whatever. He had some kind of like secret order about attacking social democrats with his army. Or I don't know. Like I said, fact check the living dickens with me, whatever. But let's take a look and see if I can find a picture of him quickly here. Hold on. Yeah, we'll do that. And then we'll go back to the 1937. And I'm gonna look at the time. We're doing not too bad. But I would like to, well, now that we're finished, we'll go back, take a look at the narrative. What did I wanted to show you? Oh, yes. Nope. It was Mr. Oh, no. What am I saying? I don't have to do that. He's one of the, he's this guy, but kind of. He's over here, I think. Wasn't it? Yeah, there. Nope, that's the journalist. Damn it! I thought I had Von Bissing. Oh well, it doesn't matter. You know, look, he's an old guy with a big kick-ass mustache. How about we go even worse than that? How about we go with that? What else can I tell you about Von Bissing? Yeah, he supposedly was the first person to. Yeah, I'm going to go to stop the screen so you guys can go and see the pictures in a minute. I think he was the first person that he thought of a good way of trying to get annexing Belgium proper into German thing. Like he didn't want to control Belgium as a proxy from what his plans were. Like, okay, let's take a big chunk of Belgium and keep it. And he thought maybe if we divide them along linguistic lines and give them like Flanders proper, I can't remember what the heck the name was, that he thought maybe that would be a good start. But anyways, a lot of people thought he was that was rather controversial. And orderly governance, Tolemykus says. I don't know what that's for. And Meandering Mex is Moritz von Bissing, son of Moritz von Bissing, but they didn't call him Junior, I guess. Moritz von, no, anyways, I can't start with you. God damn it. The problem I told you, Meandering Mex, I can't even take you. Like, I don't know what to take you. I just have to just not comment on your stuff and just post. I think that's the best way to do it with you. Anyways, this is what's been going on in 1937. Battleship Deutschland attacked by loyalists, 23 killed and 83 wounded. And I think this is perhaps got something to do with, what's his diddle there trying to try to grab power proper. I don't know. Danger, you guys know way more about that stuff than I do. Danger grows in Germany. People more and more restless under restraints, awaiting leader. So yet again, this freaked me out. What are the odds? My God, that we decide, hey, let's do 2020, May 31st, 1937. And here it is. Amelia Earhart is just preparing to go on her second attempt around the world. Holy smokes. And we know she doesn't make it. Here she is about to get ready to go off into Florida. I love history, man. This is freaking awesome stuff. Meandering Mex is straight from Wikipedia. Bissing was born at Oberbellmannsdorf in the province of Silesia. He was the son of Moritz von Bissing. Okay, thank you, Meandering Mex. So maybe we'll have to use a disclaimer with you for me. Oh my God. Anyways, like I said, you could, thank God we didn't hang out together, like I said, as kids, because you would have taken my freaking lunch money every single day. And I would have been happy about it for some bizarre reason, because you would have suckered me in even that way, thinking it was a good thing to do. Anyways, General tie-up faces Mexico. Fuel shortage through oil strikes threatens to paralyze the industry. And a new bomber is the sensation. Performance of British machine amazes experts from all over the world. I have no idea what the bomber is. Maybe you guys do. What is it? No idea. And is that the last one? Nope. Prisons of Cuba to be emptied by world's most sweeping amnesty. The reason why I also have that up is, I don't know about you guys, but it kind of reminded me of the movie. I don't know about the first one, but the one there with Al Pacino, Scarface. That thing. Need Mike specific emoticons. That would be awesome. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Okay, Meandering Mike, then. Well, maybe you would be like, you'd still, like, your inner bully would still want to take it out on somebody. Hopefully it wouldn't be me. But anyways, there we go. Okay, we're all good. And is that the last one? Anyways, yeah, when I saw this, I was thinking of the Scarface movie. No, rebel flyers destroy 50 planes in an airdrome. Aviators raid stronghold near Bilbao. So that's in Spain. To celebrate the founding day, I have no idea I know what I mean but by founding day, but Australia will observe the 150th anniversary. Like, I thought maybe Anzac Day had taken over that, or maybe it gets morphed into, I don't know how that works. So that's it. I did that. Let's go back to the narrative here. I guess got to pop it up again. And 24 minutes in. I don't know if we're going to, well, I'll show you the narrative. And if you guys see things, for goodness sakes, let me go, hey, Chris, I would rather see that bit over other bits. You know what I mean? There we go. So we did that. We're still going to, yes. Now, how did we do this last time, Tolemykus? I think we actually did get up to the last bit of the disappearance of the Iron Serpent. I don't think we finished it off, did we? But I know for a fact we did not do the mystery of UC-12, a covert naval rescue mission in 1917. And let's do some pictures then. We're just going to zippity quick down, and then we're going to go and take a look at some pictures. The Grog Shed also had some pictures from Parksville, this interesting little museum there. But he said he noticed that there's a Great War museum. It's in Beach or something like that. It's on Vancouver Island. He's just moved there, as far as I know, with his wife. And Tolemykus, why were Germany and Austria-Hungary allies in the Great War? Remember, I was mentioning that a few weeks ago. I just found it rather interesting how they go from the the Austro-Prussian War in 1866 and whatnot, and then all of a sudden now, there's this, well, I mean, they're basically the only two left, kind of. And then the video of the week. This is the problem. It's a little over 5 minutes long. It is, though, in color, and it's got sound, which is pretty neat. U.S. President Wilson gets reelected as Americans prepare for war during World War I. The reason why I wanted to maybe watch it this week is due to the fact that this week, American boots are actually now on European soil. I think there's some of actually are in France. I don't know about any combat troops, but as far as I know, like the support staff and whatnot, I think are starting to kick into there. The BGG game of the week is nothing amazing. Just another random game I found. It's called To Berlin by Valentine's Games. I think it was done during the Great War, and it looks like just a snakes and ladders game. But the person who posted it was like, I can't figure this out. Paul Hederer is returning, the game designer for 1915. Blitzkrieg, Prelude to Blitzkrieg, Romania, Prelude to Blitzkrieg. He is returning. We'll find out what we're going to talk about. We're still knocking heads about, and also arranging schedules and whatnot. As you know, the summer is not the best time of doing that. The upcoming talks with the Western Front Association. ComSim new world news. I don't know if you guys have been there recently, but there's a bazillion new entries. Well, there's one for the Caporetto thing coming up. Oh my God, no, Hexasim is doing a Caporetto game as well, not just the one there from Simeone there. Oh, darn it. You guys know that one, the Italian one. Anyways, Hexasim is going to be doing one. There's also some other amazing looking little games. Well, we'll see if we can get to that. Let's do that. Actually, you know what? We'll do that super quick because it's rather easy to get to. Well, no, we're going to go to this first, then we can go to it because this one is on today. You guys can see that. I'm going to get rid of me there. And what's irritating is it's no longer listed. Somehow I managed to find the old link here, but they took it off. So I don't know if the lecture has been canceled today, but does this not look interesting or not? I don't know if you got boost it up a little bit. How's that? It's maybe a bit much. Maybe 125 is good. It's right here. Défense de Fumé, how a company of French reserves may have changed the war. Looks at the remarkable events near and in the town of Fumé on the River Marne in August of 1914, when events, if they had turned out differently, had the potential to end the Great War shortly after it began. Fascinating in Boy's own story way, the incredible turn of events makes a Great War story. Geez, I didn't know anything about it. Like, I was like, and of course, don't live in England, flipping hell. Sucks. Anyways, there you go. Look at all these other beautiful freaking lectures. None of them are online. You sons of... Anyways. There's a bazillion more, too. I'm like, son of a bee. But anyways, don't get to see them. What did I say we wanted to go and take a look at? Oh, darn it. I can't remember. Oh, the ComSim News World thingamajig. Goody two-shoes. You guys can see that. Right. There we go. So there, look at this. Oh, I read this interview. It is really nice. Oh, it's doing this one, is it? There we go. But look how small this game is. I think it's this one, or no, it's this other one I was looking at. Oh, it's the Hexasim. Oh, this one's pretty tiny too. But anyways, it's a wonderful interview. Got that there. Let's go to this one, share this one, and then get to that one. I'm going to get rid of this guy so you guys can see this. Yeah, I just wanted you guys to know that there's a bunch of new stuff on the Consim War forum, Great War related. So I want you guys to know for sure. Let's go back to the present the screen of the. God, I feel like I'm discombobulated today, but month off, so why not? The way it goes. Nope, not that. Present. Shares. Nope. Keep doing this. No, I wanted to share the screen. A window. There we go. Okay, there you go. You guys can see that, and I'll make myself doom. And where are we going again? Let's go back up. Oh yeah, let's look at some nice pictures of all your stuff. And we'll go to the Edith Wharton one first. I mean, Harro Bosma. And William Arends says, what did you say? Wilson won re-election in November 1916 using the slogan, "He kept us out of war." Then he reversed himself around the time of his second inauguration in March 1917. Darn it. What is that guy's name, too? And he's like the, no, it's not Colonel House, is it? I don't think so. It's maybe it is, but there's some guy who's like he ends up becoming in charge of a new department, public information or something, and everything's got to get streamed through them. And he is like he's like just getting his teeth into like propaganda and how it works. And you can even see the crazy freaks in World War II starting to use these propaganda techniques and whatnot. Darn it, I can't remember his name. But it was fascinating to see him because he would even solicit to the newspaper things going, hey, you guys looking for any articles about the war? What's going on? Yeah, I've got a bunch of them here for you. Yeah, of course he does. It's all pro, whatever. Smart cookie. But anyways, I think that person was in charge of Wilson's re-election stuff. So thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much, Tolemykus. Tolemykus has confirmed it. Colonel House, thank you very much. So yeah, it's neat that you brought him up, William Arends, because like I said, he's making he's working his butt off right now. That's for sure. I'm just going to present the screen, and here we go. So Harro Bosma, I don't know if you're still around, and if I'm going to make it super bigger so you guys can see everything. So Harro Bosma was playing Axis and Allies 1914 on that beautiful table of his, and well, he decided to pop in some stuff for us. I'm going to put you on there for just a little bit, Mr. Charles Latora. Oh, there he is, Harro Bosma. Turn right, of course, man. You're my glutton. And what are you doing, Mr. Charles Latora? Oh, interesting. I wonder if they're just like for so long, they just some kind of weird, like just been drying up over time. I think I'm on a crazy whatever, but I kind of like this super magnified view. Do those things come, Harro Bosma? That's all. That's perfectly okay, Harro Bosma. When you get to them, it's going to be super great to see them. Those little arrows are those from the Risk thing? I know, Eric. Wait till you see the other pictures. There's another one. I know. Actually, we got a lot of really interesting pictures this week. Oh, and I don't know if you noticed, no, Harro Bosma, but they actually came out with a new map or something for this, a little bit wider and something, I guess, a little bit more conference happier or something. Hope you don't mind me doing this crazy view like this. I've got it on width view. All right, so should we do this? Yeah, let's just go the way it goes. But I'm gonna bring this back and then we'll go back. Let's just go through all the bloody windows. And what does yours say? My table prices are usually limited to 11 by 8.5. Yeah, didn't you, Harro Bosma, get this like more or less custom made, your table? Like you had to wait quite a while to get it done. I know that you also have it about, okay, Eric, I get you now. Because at first I thought I was wondering what your problem was. 11 by 8.5 feet. I was like, there's nothing wrong with that. Oh my gosh. Or if you do have like jeepers. Anyways, so this was a little bit about, because there is the, well, as we were mentioning, the 10th Battle of the Isonzo is kicking in. And I wanted you guys to see this little bit here. Okay, inches. Yeah, Eric, I was thinking feet. I was like, my God, you lucky devil. Hold on here. It's this bit. And it's so interesting. What I found is listening to Indian Idol's thing today was that he more or less chops, and I'm not saying he plagiarizes, but he came awfully close to some of this stuff in here. I was like, interesting. But it's this here. I really wanted to read this out because it starts talking about, because this is two other instances this week of hearing about the Austro-Hungarians quite literally, and I'm not kidding you, literally blown off the mountain. Not like, I mean, it's like, holy shoot. But anyways, I'm going to read it out for you. I'm just taking a quickie look so we don't make sure that, oh, thanks, Eric. The Duke of Aosta has assembled 1,250 guns and 600 mortars. That is a gun for every 30 feet of the Austro-Hungarian entrenchments on the Carso. The Italian gunners maintain a rate of 100,000 shells an hour until 4 p.m., by which time 1 million shells had exploded on the enemy positions. The effect was traumatic. The defenders were well used to heavy bombardments, and their engineers had worked hard to provide them with protection. But this was more than a man could take. To give an idea of the intensity, imagine you are in a reasonably secure dugout and a high explosive shell lands on solid rock or concrete less than 20 feet away from you every other minute for 10 hours. This incredible noise, the pungent smoke, and the screams of wounded or dying colleagues all around you for so long are almost impossible to comprehend. Yet somehow enough survivors emerged to face them on the coming hordes of Italian infantry. Holy F. And I'm just going to say this is, where the hell are we now? I'm just trying to figure out where the hell we are. Oh yeah, we're here, not too bad, a little bit, because I wanted to show you the very bottom paragraph, actually. I did want to read this out using my crazy little dictaphone there and get that garbled little sound like I was some kind of radio transmission from way back in 1917. I got a zillion other things to do, so this is way down in the queue. But I did want to go to the bottom bit here and take a look. Charles, this is like I said, you can see it's good. It's a huge, long piece on Italy. This is just this last little paragraph here, which I found really interesting. Yet again, I'm not saying it's Officialese or whatever, but certainly trying to get them their point across of like, see, our suffering up in the Battle of Arras and whatnot is not not for nothing kind of thing, because it just got called off along with the Nivelle offensive. Remember, the Battle of Arras was part of the Vimy Ridge thingamajig. Anyways, yet the Italian offensive, he continued, was made possible only by the thorough offensive work of the Anglo-French forces during the past few weeks. If we had not been keeping the Germans busy, the Italians would not only have found an offensive impossible, but would actually have been faced by a great Austro-German attack. All right, so let's go and see what else is in the little cooker here. So, I do have a third one. No, that's the fourth one. Oh, and now we're going to the grog shed. And this is from that museum that he noticed near the place that he's going. And he saw that there was a wonderful little, just a tiny little exhibit here. And there we go. And he gets a close-up of this picture here. I wanted to go take a look. And we'll go to the next one. And there it is. Where was it here that I was in? The battalion was broken up in England. Most of the men went to the 102nd Battalion and the 54th Battalion in France. Some of the local men are identified below. What I find interesting, I'm going to blow it up a little bit, is because of the low-res image and some of the people's giant mustaches. Like, it's like, is there some kind of weird distortion with the picture? It's like, no, like, look at this guy. Like he's missing his whatever. And it's like, no, it's just his giant mustache. That's wild. Here, yeah, let's just go with it. So this is from the this is from the block, Is War Now Impossible book. And still at the preface, for God's sakes. But here, you are quite right, said Mr. Block. It is true that Russia can, perhaps better than all other countries, contemplate the dangers or impossibilities of modern war. I was bringing this up because right now, as we know, what's happening, for goodness sakes. Excuse me. But that is precisely because she is not so highly organized and so advanced or developed in civilization or as her neighbors. Russia is the only country in Europe which produces sufficient food for her own people. She is not only able to produce enough grain to feed her own people, but she exports at present 4 million tons of every year. A war which stopped the export trade would simply place this immense mass of food at the disposal of our own people, who would be far more in danger of suffering from a plethora of food than from a scarcity. Oh boy. But nevertheless, although this is the case, the very backwardness of Russia renders it more important that she should avoid exposing her nascent civilization to the tremendous strain of a great war. Practically, we may be invulnerable, but if, when having been beaten back our invaders, we were to endeavor to carry the war across our frontiers, we should find ourselves confronted by the same difficulties which make offensive war increasingly difficult, not to say impossible. Then, where is, oh yes, this dude, George Plekhanov. And I just thought in 1917, he writes this, and I just thought, oh my gosh, is this guy ever like, boink? No, our working class is far from ready to grasp political power with any advantage to itself and the country at large. To foist such a power upon it means to push it towards a great historical calamity, which will prove the greatest tragedy for all Russia. Holy smokes, man, you have no idea. You are such a whatever. And let's go to this guy here. Why the heck did I find him? Oh, of course, he's this week. But anyways, here you go. And maybe you guys know about him. Lieutenant Colonel Nathaniel Noonan Davis, author and playwright. And he died this week. And then I think I found a picture of him somewhere. Or was oh no, that was the PDF thing. I'm not going to get to it. I'll get to it in a minute. But I want to go to William's pictures, especially one of them when I found out this is an auction, for goodness sakes. Let's get into the proper. There we go. That's a bit better. I think if I blow it up a little, there we go. So this is, where was this, William Arends? Excuse me. I'm going to put your comment up here. Now the Italian-Austrian front, mainly along the Tyrol, serves as a major stage of grand bicycle tour race. Oh, cool. I didn't know that. Grace the Giro d'Italia, as well as providing the training area for Italian winter sports teams. Now, William Arends, on a side note, I'm not sure I don't know if it's true or not, but there's a huge aerial raid by German airplanes and airships, I do believe, this week. 74 people died in England, around London. Nearly 200 were wounded. And I think one of the villages that got nailed really bad was a place called Folkestone or something. And is that also like a race car place? I'm just like trying to connect the dots here with your bicycle thing. But anyways, can you remind me where this town is from? So these are up for auction. Oh my God, I would love to have that poster. Please, please. I wonder who got it and how much it was. This thing, Who the heck is this? I'm sure we could find out. It doesn't mean, it doesn't, that doesn't mean, what is that symbol on his arm, do you think? Anybody know what that is? This thing here? No? Or maybe you do? What is it? What are those things called again? The pickle something or others? That would be wild. Look at the cracked leather. Holy Moses. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it says right there. No, kind of it. That looks cool. I remember seeing this poster. I love the look of it though. I'm gonna get you. You. Probably not. And this really freaked me out, William Arends, when I noticed that it says here that the Llandovery Castle was torpedoed. Because this week it's not the same ship, because this one got nailed. The other one got nailed in 1917. But some other ship, something castle, this week got nailed, I think, in the Mediterranean. So that was neat. And is that it? I think so. Now let's get into, oh my God, we're 14 minutes in. Hold on here, get back to here. I want to make sure we don't screw up everything. Okay, we're going to go to William Arends to your ATA, which I haven't even looked at yet. That's what we're going to do. Oh yeah, here we go. We're going to present this bit. And you're going to find out whoever sticks around the after hours. Sorry, the after hours thingamajig's only 35 minutes long or 40 minutes long. For goodness sakes! Oh, there we go. It's an antique store in St. Jacobs, Ontario, which is part of Woolwich Township, which is the northeast portion of the region of Waterloo. Thanks. So this is that guy that died today, and I wanted to go and look him up a little bit more. He seems like he had an interesting, he's a food writer, food whatever, but he also was into the arts quite a bit. Anyways, so that's that. Let's go into your ATA, which I haven't even really looked at. But eventually, Tolemykus, you're just such a good sport towards me anyways, is that we are going to eventually get to your why were Germany and Austria-Hungary allies in the Great War. And we will get some at some point in time. Gosh almighty, I told you there's 4 trillion orphans with this show. Anyways, let's get into here, which I haven't even looked at yet. And thank you very much, William Arends, for this. Translator's note, to give another viewpoint from German publications during World War I found this administrative bulletin from the county of Koszmin in Poznań province. Poznań, now Poznan, was a territory that changed hands from Germany to Poland in the Treaty of Versailles, also known as the Polish Corridor. And history has no timetable, Tolemykus says. Thank you, Tolemykus. The country of Koszmin was 25 miles or 40 kilometers, or does anybody know? Get an extra point. 2 Der Weltkrieg axis, southeast of the provincial capital of Poznań, and directly on the border of the German and Russian empires. I've translated an article from the bulletin dated May 5th, 1917. And you remember also what you ended up becoming Poland is Stettin. Remember, it was one of the coastal towns, and I think it was part of the whatever that got revamped into that. And remember Bridget, the woman I used to see quite often walking around. I haven't seen her in ages. The one with the walker there, that's from Stettin there, and she got me to say pronounce it properly, and so on and so forth. It was I hope she's doing good. Anyways, I've translated an article from the bulletin dated May 5th, 1917. This deals with an agricultural issue about the access to the threshing mill for harvested grain. The official county bulletin for the county Koszmin, editorial responsibility for the official parts. The public bureau of the provincial council in Koszmin, printed and published by Hermann Tuch in Koszmin. Saturday, the 5th of May, 1917, number 441. The Ministry of War in Berlin has directed that grain which has not already been threshed out and charged a price should now immediately cease being threshed. This also applies to the grain that is still damp. Okay, could someone please let me know what threshing actually is? I'm assuming it must be some kind of weird shifting and whatever, getting rid of the crap stuff or something and just the seeds, but I'd like a specific. Thank you very much. I was never previous to this time in the camp of those who would grant the request for delays in the payments to be charged for threshing. In a similar way, this order states that with its immediate implementation, the military command which regulates threshing henceforth should set the price to be paid by the owners of the grain. The measure is necessary so that the grain storehouses of the Reich can determine exactly the quantity of prepared grain available for the nutritional needs of the people. I declare it to be the duty both of everyone involved in the food supply trade and the various town councils to make a public announcement of this regulation. Koshman, 2nd May 1917, the director of the district administration. Translator's note. Here are 2 articles from the Berlin latest news dated May 11th. The first being the initial paragraphs about the fighting on the Western Front around Arras and elsewhere. The second being a report on the Salonika front, where the Entente troops had gotten into Serbian territory, now the Republic of Northern Macedonia, around Dorjan. The report also includes action in the heights around Monastir, Greece, near Salonika. By the way, did I notice that on the, oh, thanks, Tolemykus. I'm going to put your thing up here. Is Tolemykus is machinery designed to separate the edible grain or seed from the stalks and husks of cereal crops, such as wheat, barley, oats, rye, and rice? Thank you. I didn't know. I don't know if you guys noticed that in the interesting tidbits. I don't know if I scrolled down too quickly, but there's a note in the chronology book that mentions British and Serbian pilots. And I went, what? Serbian pilots? I didn't know they had a whatever. So if anybody could find anything about Serbian pilots, please let me know, for the love of God. I would really like to find out about that. Anyways, the report still believes the French troops to be under the command of General Sarai, though he had been relieved of that command in 1916. Berlin's latest news, Friday, the 11th of May, 1917. That's news to me. So thank you, William Arends. Aerial assaults by the English and the French have been repulsed. Berlin official from the evening of the 10th of May. Aerial assaults by the English near Bulcourt and the French northwest of Prosnay have turned back. In the vicinity of Arras on the 9th of May, the English have made unsuccessful attacks on the Bavarian position in the village of Fresnoy. Already, or Fresnoy. See, I'm doing it again. Already by 4 o'clock in the morning, the English had been rebuffed after receiving heavy losses. During the course of the morning, the English carried their attacks out at different corners of what had been the former park of Fresnoy, that were every time completely thrown back, often in fierce hand-to-hand combat. Really? Are you, swear to God, this is freaking awesome, Meandering Mike. I just honestly had no idea that there was any Serbian pilots or Air Force or anything. This is just awesome news to me. So thank you for confirming this. This is freaking amazing. And Tolemykus even adds in, by 1914, Serbia had aerial reconnaissance capabilities using a few aircraft, such as the Blériot 11 monoplanes. Wicked. Oh my God. This is so freaking cool. And at the outbreak of World War I, Serbia had 12 trained pilots, 3 military aircraft, and some foreign volunteers. Wicked. Yeah, no, I was just like, what? Like, I had to actually go back. I thought maybe I was doing one of those other things again, and like it actually was saying Belgian or something, whatever, that were every time completely thrown back, often in fierce hand-to-hand combat. In the course of the afternoon, an increasing enemy artillery fire happening during a period of clear visibility north and south of the Scarp. Our batteries made a strong response. West of Arlou, from the afternoon to the approach of the evening, the enemy attacks were offline due to the fire that we put on them. Late into the night, a fierce combat occurred near Bulcourt, at Bulcourt. In the morning, our troops blew away an attack in the villages on the southern edge of Bulcourt by English troops armed with hand grenades. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, our foes began an active attack against the southern edge, where they suffered severe and bloody losses while being repulsed. At this time, our enemies attempted to take over parts of the position at those villages. We also could, during the preliminary battle northwest of Saint-Quentin, create conditions in our favor. There, in an enclosed sector, the advance of the enemy yielded to our counter-assault and was thrown back again after receiving heavy losses. No, we didn't go through the whole list now that I remember, because I got sidetracked with the Edith Wharton thing. So if we have enough time, which I think we will, we'll go back to that. On the Aisne, lively combat activity took place again with greater violence, especially at the high points near Chemin des Dames, and on both sides of Courtecon on the 9th of May, due to the improved conditions for visibility in the clear air. Also on the morning of the 9th of May, south of Isle, a lively exchange of hand grenades occurred. Translators note, the editors must have wanted to draw attention to the action on the Salonika front because they put the following account in bold type in the center of the page of the newspaper. So I'll also put it in bold font here. Wicked, thanks. I was wondering about that too, William Arends. I was like, what's going on here? But I'm like, William Arends has got his thing. Let him do his thing. Anyways, really cool. Well, okay. The just thing is, I would like to go and get a model of a Blériot 11 monoplane then, and Serbianize it, wouldn't you? I would. Jeepers jumping. Harro Bosma says, I believe there's a Serbian air unit in the World Undone Serbian front. Really? What the hell? I should know this, for God's sakes. This is terrible. You know why I should know that, Harro Bosma? I play tested the goddamn game. Oh my God. I hope to God it's just for the Austrians, Austro-Hungarians. But that would be brutal. Here it is. I play tested the goddamn game. Anyways, that would be hilarious. And I'm just going to put this as well. Many Serbian pilots flew Newport and the Brigade aircraft provided by France. Would it be KUK air unit? Okay, cool. Thanks, Harro Bosma. I want to keep putting all your stuff here. I'm going to put that one. Tolemykus is on a bit longer. Anyways, the new difficult defeat for General Sarai. The Bulgarian and German troops are, I'm just going to shut up and just continue doing my thing here. The Bulgarian and German troops brought, I know, Harro Bosma, isn't that bizarre or what? I'm like, thanks a lot for bringing that game up, Harro Bosma. Oh, it's just a theme for my life. I just don't listen. The Bulgarian and German troops, and then I wonder why everything goes wrong, brought Sarai again to a difficult defeat on the 9th of May, while the enemy set the fire on the highlands, 1,248 meters northwest of Monastir, up until noon, was followed by a strong enemy infantry attack along a 3-kilometer wide front that was rebuffed with heavy losses. At the same time, in Cernam, 4 enemy attacks were completely wrecked. The first failed assault done in the morning hours were rebuffed by both an artillery barrage and a counter assault. After a number of preparatory artillery fires, the thrown together contingents of Sarai carried forward a lively attack on a 16-kilometer broad front. There they were along that entire front, with the exception of a high position to the south, were thrown back with heavy losses. An indeterminate number of dead enemy soldiers lay in front of our lines. I've noticed that a lot too. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. Really? That's not good. There should be, especially if there's a print on play. Well, we can change that, can't we? We'll certainly do that. And at this time, over 250 prisoners were captured. What the heck was talking? Oh yeah. And on the flip side, in the Allied newspapers, I'm noticing this. They're doing this as well. William Arends and others is they'll keep talking about, and all the enemy dead lay before us. Every 5 seconds, they keep mentioning it. At the time of over 250 prisoners were captured, 2 machine guns and 4 artillery pieces were taken. Around evening, 2 more enemy attacks occurred when the already mentioned positions on the southern heights where the enemy still were holding the trench line were finally taken back by a counterattack of both Bulgarian and German troops. As was subsequently reported, the Serbs had successfully moved to the upper reaches of the Muglit, by the 8th of May and took the first line there on that day. They were thrown out of that position on the 9th of May. Further east, advances against Zabrosta and Tufan by stronger units were easily repulsed. Southwest of town of Dorjan, on previous days, a fierce battle on the Stouts mountain took place. The courageous Bulgarian 34th Infantry Regiment wrested that position away from the enemy during the morning of the 9th of May through a renewed powerful counterattack when they only had a slight advantage, leaving the enemy with heavy losses for all their efforts. The entire position here is firmly in the hands of those on our side. Let's go to the narrative. We're doing pretty darn good considering there's only 1 minute left. And we can take a look at what we will try to talk about next week. And you know what? That's the way I look at it, Tolemykus. You just get bumped up the ladder. You know what I mean? We did this little bits. Excellent. Nope. Doesn't matter about that. Actually, we did that. No, we went. I said we didn't go to the Tid-Bits. Okay, let's go to the Tid-Bits. French mutinies, we mentioned that. 15th, used the nonplussed. I wanted you guys to look up that god-awful word, which you did for me. The withdrawal, May 14th, mentions attack on Zeebrugge. We did that. The aerial attacks on submarines. We did. Oh, maybe I did do them all. And then continued things heating up front. Let's do this thing. Then I'll shut up, and then we'll go off to the after-hours war summary, which I said is only like about 36 minutes long. Let's kind of take a quickie recap of what the hell we know what's going on in the world. Rainy season's over. So now they're ramping up again in Germany, East Africa. Latin American countries are all lining up with the United States, and they're all basically one after the other starting to declare war on Germany, correct? China is about to do the same thing. Spain's pretty pissed off with Germany, correct? The Arab revolt is in full swing. Not looking good in the Caucasus for the Russians. They're starting to pull away, and I'd say it's probably even worse for the Armenians, as we know. They're like, aren't you just going to help us out here? Russians like, sorry. Kerensky offensive is about to kick into high gear. We're starting to notice a lot of cracks develop. Look, I guess turmoil. Was it? Darn it! I didn't show you that little the other scan of the Russia scan, which I should have done, which is some foreigners now, like Americans and whatnot, are starting to take a look and going, guys, there's something weird going on here in Russia. It doesn't look like they're going to have a new stability here. Well, they are going to have a new stability. He goes, people are getting they want any form of stability. And that's not a good sign because, as you know, that means someone who's maybe the Bolsheviks are a little bit more organized are going to take advantage of it. I do say this on a side note, which I find mind-blowing, is that they're the ones that seem to be very anti-war, like peace at all costs. Oh, shit. It doesn't matter. Let's just be quiet. There's way too many other things I can talk about. Hope you guys have a great remainder of your weekend. Great week coming up. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you for all your contributions. That's it. Let's go off to after hours. Hold on. I got to get the screen popped up. Almost got rid of yous again. I keep doing that. Crazyville Acres. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm just like zooming on whatever. Get well soon, Harro Bosma. I certainly hope. Well, I'm a hell of a lot better every single day. I'm just trying to pace myself. Like after the show, after the after-hour show, I'm going to probably crash and burn on the couch, kind of thing. Let's get it in here. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do any like complex arithmetic or anything like that right now. I don't think I do a very good job. Anyways, okay, here we go. I'm going to present the screen. All right, I'm going to get rid of me. And then we're going to go off to the war summary. Like I said, again, thank you guys so much for showing up. I hope to see you guys next week. And I'm just going to turn off my microphone and turn into a texter like you guys. All right, see you later. All right, here we go. The war summary for live stream 119, April 25th to, what the hell am I saying? May 25th to May 31st, 1917. Here we go. It's been a while. I'm still a little sick and congested, but we'll see how this goes. The British transport Transylvania with troops aboard was torpedoed on May 4th in the Mediterranean. Of those on board, 29 officers and 373 of other ranks perished when the transport went down. The captain of the vessel, 1 officer, and 9 of the crew also were drowned or killed. The anchor liner was attacked off the Italian coast. Some survivors were put ashore at an Italian port. The Transylvania was a vessel of over 14,000 tons and was built in 1914. And I went and looked it up a little later because I think I used it for the image of the day. And it was escorted by 2 Japanese destroyers, which obviously didn't do a very good job. A big Italian victory over the Austrians is reported officially from Rome. On the Carso, after 10 hours of heavy artillery preparation, the Third Army smashed its way through the enemy's lines from Castagnevica to the sea, capturing over 9,000 prisoners. And this is the 10th Battle of the Isonzo, I do believe. The Austrians were surprised by the suddenness of the onslaught, but recovered sufficiently to launch counterattacks, which were beaten off by the Italian guns. The important town of Giamiano and the heights east of Pietrorossa and Bagne were taken. Italian aircraft dropped 10 tons of explosives on the enemy during the fight. 10 British batteries supported the Italians. On the side note, I did butcher those words a bit. I was also thinking about something else, which was, I thought this was like the beginnings of maybe the Austrians are going to start counterattacking with Caporetto, but that doesn't happen until the fall. Holy Moses. Anyways, so we still got, I mean, and that's the 12th battle, so we still got another in between one as well. The Carso defenses are hewn out of solid rock, making the defense organization of the Austrians almost impregnable. Pneumatic drills and dynamite and tunneling tools have been employed by the Austrians to drill and blast and fashion underground fortresses and machine gun readouts. Iron plates an inch thick, cemented into the limestone rock, protect observation posts and snipers. A big army of laborers had been employed by the Austrians to work on these strong defenses, but before the British heavy guns and new explosives, these strong positions have been blasted out of existence, quite literally. I just was reading a little bit about this battle in the Caporetto book, and the author said that the Austrians were literally blown off the mountain. I'm like, holy. Anyways, Japan is aiding the Allies in the fight against the submarine, kind of. A considerable number of light craft have reached the Mediterranean and are cooperating with the Allied navies. Except you can ask the Transylvania about that one. The French liner Santé has been sunk with a loss of 44 lives. There were 344 persons, presumably French troops, on board when the steamer was attacked on the voyage from Salonika to Marseille. Captain went down with his vessel, which was a boat of over 7,000 tons. That'd be an easy little trivia, math thing that they always have to get you to do. Anyways, about, like 344 minus 44, how many survived? Anyways, German airships raided the eastern counties of England on Wednesday night and killed 1 man in a Norfolk village. 4 or 5 airships took part in the raid, which blew me away. But owing to rain and fog, they were unable to locate their objectives and did little material damage. For the same reason, the British aircraft that pursued them were unable to prevent their escape. I guess when we heard about that report a little while ago, they were saying there's going to be no more Zeppelin constructions, but I guess obviously they're still going to use whatever they have left. The Russian Constituent Assembly will be summoned at an early date. The coalition government is taking steps to make arrangements for the election of delegates in which the soldiers at the front will participate. The defunct provisional government came into conflict with the proletariat by its refusal to call the assembly until after the war. The assembly will decide as to the future constitution of Russia and will also discuss plans for the division of the land. On the Russian front, the enemy is beginning to show signs of activity. Gas was directed against the Russian lines north of Galitz, which a change in the wind turned toward the German lines. That's the flipping problem of gas, isn't it? German naval activity is pronounced in the Baltic. A violent bombardment was heard during Tuesday night. On the French front, the fighting yesterday was confined to artillery duels in the Léon region around Vanclerc, Californie Plateau, and at Chevreux. Major General Maurice, the British War Office expert, in his review of the operations of the past week, gives high praise to the French, who he states have made strategical gains greater than are indicated on the map. Aerial activity on the British Western Front is increasing, a sign of the approach of another offensive. 11 German machines were brought down. 3 British machines are missing. The German Midnight Statement says there is increasing artillery activity along the British front south of the Cambrai-Bapaume Road and at Saint-Quentin. General Maurice, referring to the lull in the British offensive, which has followed a period of heavy fighting, refers to the German official reports as indicating a loss of morale in the enemy ranks. Ordinary artillery bombardments are reported as British offensives when no offensive, save artillery bombardment, takes place. I can see maybe why they got General Maurice to do this. He's like the master of freaking BS, it seems like, anyways, to me. Oh my God. British losses in the Battle of Arras are, as compared with the losses on the Somme, are 50% smaller, according to General Maurice. Although larger forces are engaged, 4 times more ground has been taken than in the whole Somme fight, and many times more prisoners and guns. I'm sorry, I'm just having a blast already, and it's only page 2. Brazil is practically at war with Germany. Teuton dreams of a Germanized Latin America are dissipated by the bold front shown by the Latin republics to Germany's ruthless campaign at the sea. The sinking of the Brazilian steamers Tijuca and Parana created a state of war from which Brazil shows no disposition to recede. In any steps that may be taken, Brazil will cooperate with the United States. Congress has yet to determine whether the country is at war and what steps shall be taken. On the British Western Front, oh my God, wait until we get into the, well, you're going to see some more stuff in a bit. Or maybe that was the earlier days, I think it is. On the British Western Front, military operations are confined at present to artillery and aircraft. The guns were particularly active in the vicinity of Luce and on the left bank of the Scarpe. Aerial engagements were more lively, 12 enemy machines being brought down. 6 British pilots failed to return. The Stars and Stripes now flies at the front. The nucleus of Uncle Sam's first contingent of 40,000 men is on the French front, most of the men being undergraduates of American universities. It consists of a convoy of American motor transport service of 5-ton wagons. Other sections are in training behind the French lines. I do believe the bloody women there, the Hello Girls, for Christ's sakes, I think they're already there. The submarine menace is well in hand, according to Mr. Lloyd George. Germany says is doomed to disappointment as Britain is in no danger of starvation, and the war cannot be won by Germany's submarines. Wait till you see another paragraph next page. And I'm like, oh, really? No food problems, huh? Germany says is doomed to disappointment as Britain is in no danger of starvation, and the war cannot be won by Germany's submarines. Satisfactory progress is being made in sinking the enemy's craft, and in consequence, the food situation has been improved. The British Premier paid a high tribute to the American Navy for the support it had given in tackling the submarine problem. Even though the Americans, I think, never do actually sink a single submarine, their presence actually did work because the U-boats were like, well, let's not go here. Or, you know what I mean? It's just the fear of. On the Julian front, on the Carso Plateau, the Italians continue to make headway. The battle is raging from the Flava to the sea. Fighting their way foot by foot, the Italians drove the enemy from his powerful and strongly defended underground fortifications. Hold on, I'm going to take a little sip of coffee. Coffee has been done. In 2 days, over 10,000 prisoners were taken, including 316 officers, and a considerable amount of war material was left in the hands of the Italians. The enemy was driven to a line south of the Gimignano town, the Italian brigades in this sector achieving a brilliant victory. North of Gimignano, heavy fighting took place, the enemy being driven from the strongly fortified heights. Here, the Italians extended their line to the outskirts of Vercio. Desperate counterattacks on the southern Carso were repulsed. In other sectors, the fighting was violent, but the Italians inflicted heavy losses on the enemy all along the line. Speculation in foodstuffs, interesting, is prohibited in the British Isles. The elimination of unessential middlemen is aimed at. The further regulations of food and food prices will largely depend upon the action taken in the United States. Destructive fires in Germany are reported in Berlin newspapers. A big fire broke out in the Moabit freight station in Berlin, resulting in the destruction of army supplies and buildings. Other fires broke out in provincial towns, which are attributed to incendiarism. Germany has increased the war tax from occupied territory in Belgium. Brussels will be forced to contribute an additional 10 million marks monthly. In the Lyon region, north of the Chemin des Dames, the Germans forced an entrance into the French frontline trenches. Later, the enemy was driven out. Elsewhere, the operations were chiefly artillery. The Chevreau Wood was stormed by the French on Thursday. The enemy offered a stubborn resistance, but was driven from a portion of his fortified positions in the wood. Of Lyon, $75 million alone. Oh my God, I'm thinking of the over there, but it's the wrong way because it's whatever, you get it. A loan of $75 million has been made to Great Britain by the United States, increasing Britain's loan indebtedness to $400 million and will not be paid off by the Americans, I do believe, until 1986. Holy shoot. South of the Arras-Cambrai Road, the British troops improved their position at Fontaine-la-Croisille. Some prisoners were taken in patrol engagements near the Courjoy River. 11 enemy air machines were brought down during the day. 4 British pilots are missing. Courjoy, doesn't matter. A German attack on the Chemin des Dames near Moulin de la Faux was beaten off by the French on Saturday night. From La Faux de Crayon, the guns on both sides kept up a heavy bombardment all through the night. Possession of the height of land gives the French gunners a great advantage over the Germans. Little by little, the French are advancing and strengthening their positions. In the Champagne region, the Germans made 3 serious efforts to break through the French lines in the Tiffin sector. They succeeded in penetrating at one point, but later were driven out. The infantry assaults were preceded by violent bombardments. Heavy artillery engagements took place along the Champagne front. The sinking of a Spanish steamer and the loss of 133 lives is reported from London. The Izenguir sank in 5 minutes. The cause of the disaster is not stated. Another Spanish vessel sunk is the Bagona, a ship of nearly 3,000 tons. The tying up of Spanish trade, owing to the German submarine menace, has created a serious situation in Spain where there's a strong demand for war against Germany. But remember, they did find those little secret spots, I think, off the coast of Spain there. Remember, they were like pretending to be boys or something, and they could actually like refuel or something. Remember, fact checker with me for crying out loud. Combined Allied air squadrons, including British, French, and Belgian, bombarded. I think we're going to see one that says Serbian later. I'm pretty darn sure. German defenses on the Belgian coast, causing many explosions. The places attacked were Heitst, Blankenberge, and Zeebrugge. Obviously not here, but I'm pretty darn sure they mentioned Serbian pilots. I was like, what? In the Gulf of Trieste, British monitors with big guns are pounding the Austrian roads and defenses, cooperating with the Italian offensive on the Carso. Aeroplane hangars, military positions, railway stations on the main road, and the railway to Trieste are under fire from these heavy guns, which are doing considerable damage. A Trieste train was caught squarely by a salvo and disappeared in a cloud of smoke and splinters. Standing off Prosecco and Contovale, the monitors fired for 2 hours, smashing everything in sight. Austrian hydroplanes and Italian aircraft fought over the monitors. 2 enemy machines were shot down. That's a pretty cool image in my head. The Italian drive towards Trieste is making considerable headway. On the Carso Plateau, the Austrian second line of defense along sections of the heights was stormed and carried. Do you know who's in charge of the Austrians there? Barevich. All the captured ground on the Isonzo has been held against Austrian counterattacks. On Saturday, Cadorna's troops smashed their way through the Austrian fortified positions between Gamiano and the Gulf of Trieste, pushing past the Montfalcone-Duino Railway, northeast of San Clovani, right up to the outskirts of Mediza village. At the head of the Paliova Valley, Italian troops carried the heights north of Plava and joined their Monte Ciccio lines with those on Hill 363. I think 363 is that horrible hill they keep talking about. It's like a nightmare to get. But they did take it, the Austrians took it back, I do believe. 11 guns and 1,200 Austrians were taken. In 2 days fighting, the Italians took 4,700 prisoners. A German aerial raid on the southeast coast of England on Friday afternoon resulted in the death of 76 persons. Yeah, this is a biggie. The wounded numbered 174. High up in the air, 16 German airplanes dropped explosives on the crowded streets of an unnamed town at an hour when many people were abroad. And you know what they do, eh? Lots of times people come out to take a look. Jesus H. Curiosity drew a number of the inhabitants from their homes to watch the enemy aircraft. 3 of the raiders were shot down on their way home. A number of the victims of the German aerial attack on an open, of course, defenseless town were women and children, of course. In keeping with the brutal methods of warfare, and they all had limps, in the brutal methods of warfare of the enemy is the official announcement from Berlin that British hospital ships, other than those from Salonika, will be treated as warships and sunk at sight. It is falsely alleged by Germany that Britain puts her hospital ships to military purposes. And it's true. Remember, we found this out a long time ago. Germany had multiple they were allowed multiple occasions to inspect the hospital ships. They never did. So it's like you can't go around saying, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like I'm here. It's one for the British. As you know, I'm pretty anti whatever. An Austrian counteroffensive on a large scale is threatened against Italy and the Trentino. Austria has withdrawn forces from the Russian and Balkan fronts for a desperate drive on Italy. Last year, a similar offensive was attempted with some measure of temporary success to break through the Posino Heights and reach Schlio, and on their right to turn the Italian flank on the Brenta. Brusilov's big offensive in Volhynia forced Austria to withdraw reinforcements from the Trentino, and Cadorna began a counterattack which forced the Austrians to abandon their offensive and to withdraw. Duino on the Gulf of Trieste is now within sight of the Italian forces, which have pushed to within 1,500 yards of the town. The natural defenses are very great. On the west, the Carso tableland projects to the coast, while Mount Cruto or something to the north rises several hundred feet, affording the Austrians a clear view of the Italian movements. The Italians yesterday made further advances eastward and southeastward from Gamiano against the Austrian reserve line. On the French western front, the guns were heavily engaged on all sides of the Champagne sector. Lively grenade fighting took place at Teton. In the Champagne region, the French now occupy all the commanding heights with the exception of Hill 200, which is directly north of Mont-Vieille and which overlooks that village. Although the engagements of the past week look like minor local fights, the aggregate results have placed in possession of the French troops heights that give them a tremendous strategical advantage in this area. All the advantage of ground now rests with the French. The fierce counterattacks by the enemy show how keenly Hindenburg feels the loss of these positions. In the Léon zone, which has been the scene of such continuous and fierce fighting, the French have pushed their line in some places right up to the southern bank of the Alliette River. The heights on the northern bank of the river, which command the southern bank, are a formidable obstacle to the farther advance of the French in this direction. Military experts are agreed that Lyon is too strongly defended to be carried from any side save the east. The French advance in the vicinity of Berry-au-Bac, if pushed, would turn the high ground north of the Alliette and open the way for the storming of Lyon. 3 miles northwest of Luce, the British captured some prisoners in a raid of east of Vermelles. Northeast of Ypres, 50 of the British raided a British post. One of the British garrison is missing. South of the Scarpe and in the Ypres region, the artillery was active on both sides. 15 enemy airplanes were brought down yesterday. 3 British machines are missing. On the British front, there's been little activity since the fierce fighting that wrested Bullecourt from the enemy. The defection of the Russians on the eastern front is brought against the British advance tremendous German forces that make the going extremely slow and arduous for Sir Douglas Haig. A lull has succeeded the big advance, which began with the Battle of Arras. Hindenburg, no longer fearing a Russian offensive, has more men to gamble on counterattacks, but despite the heavy losses which these defensive offensives entail, the German forces in front of the British are sufficiently strong to make Haig's advance more difficult. The Italian offensive. aided by British heavy guns and British monitors, is keeping 1 million Austrians heavily engaged, without hope of reinforcements from Germany and with little prospect of being able to hold Trieste. The Austrian counteroffensive in the Trentino is a more difficult task this year than last. Unable to place sufficient men and guns in that region without risking a catastrophe on the Carso, the Austrians cannot hope to divert the Italians by the threatened counteroffensive in the Trentino. Since last year, the Italians have fortified and rendered almost impregnable the approaches to the Venetian plains. All the passes leading through the mountain barriers that guard northern Italy have been blocked, and nothing but an overwhelming superiority in men and guns, which Austria cannot afford, will avail to carry the Italian defenses on this front. Batteries from the Russian front have been transferred to aid the Austrians in their desperate defense of Trieste. Folkestone was the English town that suffered such damage and loss of life on Friday last when German airplanes bombarded the southeast coast of England. Folkestone is a town of 7,000 inhabitants, about 7 miles from Dover. It is a popular watering place on the Kentish coast. Is that also a place where there's a big racetrack there or something? Maybe I'm wrong. A Polish army of liberation is being organized, says the Paris Temps. The project is well underway. Poles in France and other allied countries are being mobilized under the Polish flag to fight for the restoration of the ancient kingdom of Poland. Certainly would like to know more about that. In the Romanian war capital of Iași, an important conference is about to take place. I just think it's pretty neat that it's now called the war capital, because it's nowhere near Bucharest, is it? Is about to take place, which may have an important bearing on events on the Russian and Romanian fronts. The French Minister of Munitions, Mr. Thomas, has arrived, and the Russian Minister of War, Mr. Kerensky, is expected in a few days. Romania has been greatly stirred and cheered by the entry of the United States. It looks as if Russia and Romania are waiting the necessary support and guns and material and ready to resume the offensive when these are assured. Russia is in the throes of an active industrial crisis, according to a cable dispatch from Petrograd to London. The country, says the Russian Minister of Finance, is on the verge of economic ruin. The demands of the workers have thrown the economic wheels out of gear. Some of the socialist ministers advocate a separate peace as the only solution of the problem. A commission has been formed to try and solve the economic difficulties precipitated by the revolution. Oh boy, are we in for some interesting fireworks soon, eh? The Brazilian chamber, by 136 votes to 3, has sanctioned the revocation of the declaration of neutrality in this war. The sinking of Brazilian ships and the drowning of Brazilian citizens has brought the nation into line with the United States in the fight against German ruthlessness at sea. The revocation of the Declaration of Neutrality. Jesus Christ, what a way of saying it. We're not neutral anymore. Anyways, on the Canadian section of the line, says Stuart Lyon, the heavy howitzers are bombarding the enemy's positions to the southwest of Lus. The smashing of the wire defenses by the guns along the whole front presages an early infantry advance. The enemy's trenches are being pounded with high explosives. The lull of the British front continues. Northeast of La Bassée, east of Reichsburg, Lavaux, forget it. The enemy's trenches were raided yesterday morning. In the aerial engagements yesterday, 8 enemy machines were brought down. 5 British machines failed to return. Artillery fighting in the Champagne is the only news of importance from the French headquarters. The bombardment was violent in the Montvilliers sector and particularly on the Casque and Tetten. On the Belgian line, aerial craft on both sides bombarded the enemy works and military establishments. Excuse me. Germany fears a Russian offensive. The renewed activity on the Eastern Front is causing grave concern at Berlin. That Germany is not prepared for a Russian attack is shown by the failure to take advantage of the Russian Revolution. The withdrawal from Russian soil of big reinforcements from Hindenburg's line leaves the enemy unprepared for a vigorous prosecution of the war by Russia and Romania. Mr. Arthur Henderson, the Labour member of the British War Cabinet, has undertaken an important mission to Russia. In his absence, his place in the war cabinet will be taken by Mr. George Barnes, another labor leader and minister of pensions. In the Caucasus, the Russians repulsed the Turkish attacks south of Van. Russian warships on the Black Sea landed a force of Marines on the Anatolian coast and destroyed a Turkish post and a quantity of grain. Wouldn't that be a cool little game? Come on, people. Jeepers jumping. The Russian ambassador to the United States, who had just arrived at Tokyo from Petrograd, is optimistic with regard to the future. He says the Russian army will soon be in a position to launch an offensive. The ambassador, unfortunately, it sounds like the Kerensky one, and that's crunch. The ambassador is the head of a commission of 40 now on its way to Washington. He repudiates the suggestion that Russia will make a separate peace. The Italian advance continues over ground on which lie thousands of Austrian dead. The number of prisoners taken is increasing daily. Vast caverns filled with war supplies are falling into the hands of Cadorna's troops. After the fierce fighting of the past week, there's likely to be a lull in this theater of war. Counterattacks by the enemy have been unsuccessful. The return of vodka, thank God, in Russia is denounced by the Workmen's and Soldiers' Executive as a plot on the part of the monarchists to overthrow the present regime and restore the throne. There is a deplorable increase of drunkenness in the cities and towns, and the demand for the suppression of illicit vodka sales is very strong. Russia's peace terms are complicating the situation for the other allies. I can imagine. The Russian Minister of Agriculture, who is a socialist, says peace must be concluded in which there are no victors and no vanquished. Oh boy, let's think about the Sykes-Picot agreement that no one really knows about, or I think they don't really know about, and however, France, and oh my gosh, all people want to carve up this, that, and the other thing. He repudiates, like what they want to do with Constantinople, oh my gosh, eh? He repudiates the idea of a separate peace and says no Russian blood will be shed to aid Britain and France to repair the historic injustices committed against them. In other words, France will get no support from Russia in pressing her claim to Alsace-Lorraine. So you can forget what everything else, holy smokes. A British mercantile converted cruiser has been torpedoed and sunk in the North Sea. Formerly the Booth liner Hillary, of 6,000 tons, the vessel was built 9 years ago. 4 men were killed by the explosion. The hospital ship Dover Castle was sunk in the Mediterranean on Saturday. All on board, including nurses and patients, were safely transferred, with the exception of 6 of the crew who were killed when the torpedo exploded. The campaign in East Africa has been resumed. The rainy season lasted longer than usual, but in the opening days of May, the return of the dry weather witnessed a resumption of activities by the remnant of the German colonial forces. Hemmed in on the southeast, the enemy raided Portuguese territory and advanced towards the border of Nyasaland, burning native villages, seizing food supplies, and terrorizing the inhabitants. The German raiding columns advanced rapidly up the valleys of the Rufiji and Matandu rivers from the southeastern coast, one force breaking northward and the other striking at the Portuguese border. The northern column under Major Wittgens eluded the British forces and reached Katunda on the way to Tabora, but they were pursued by the British, who captured the German commander on May 22nd near Lukalaka, 61 miles southwest of Tabarabi. A Belgian force is now cooperating with the British base on the Central Railway. The backbone of the German defense was broken by General Smuts, and the rounding up of the remnant of the natives who were fighting in the German ranks should be completed before many weeks. Yeah, I was pretty surprised to find out the Smuts back. Aerial activity is increasing along the British front, a sign of an approaching offensive. I do believe Brian R. Smith was mentioning, though, that General Smuts ruffled quite a few feathers or something back in London, so maybe they demoted him again. At night, with increasing frequency, the aircraft go out for their errands of destruction, dropping tons of explosives on enemy works and fighting thrilling battles with German machines. Some of these engagements have been fought out at an altitude of more than 3.5 miles. Hundreds of German airplanes were destroyed in May. On Sunday, last 30 of the enemy craft were shot down. The fight on Sunday between 6 British machines and 8 of the enemy was a desperate affair. At one moment, 7 machines were crashing together to the earth. The account of the fight, as cabled by the Associated Press, is one of the most thrilling episodes of the war. I hope we can find that. As well as, on a side note, I think I'm starting to notice, maybe I'm wrong, but I think we're starting to notice Associated Press creeping in to the Globe reports and so on and so forth. I don't know. I'm just throwing this out. Maybe it's because, like I said, they may have been around all the time, just not noticing. Is that the Americans are now in the war and their news sources are no longer considered neutral and therefore are allowed in. I don't know. In Saint-Quentin and Champagne regions, the artillery was very active on both sides. Just a hunch. The enemy directed his fire particularly at the trenches at Mohon and Cassone, but the French guns succeeded in silencing the German batteries. From Gorizia southward to the Gulf of Trieste, the fighting is less intense than in the operations of last week. Between Gamiano and the sea, the Italians have taken another slice of the Austrian line west of the Mattiazza village, swinging their, oh wow, the last page, right closer to the defenses of Duino and the railroad to Trieste. British merchant shipping losses continue on the decline. Last week, the losses through mines or submarines were 18 vessels of 1,600 tons and over, 1 vessel of less than 1,600 tons, and 2 fishing vessels. The arrivals numbered 2,719 and the sailings 2,768. The losses of vessels of over 1,600 tons remain the same, but the number of vessels under 1,600 tons sunk shows a decrease of 8. The report that the Admiralty had the submarine mallets well in hand appears to be fully justified by the results. The shortage of shipping has led to the control of all manufactured and unmanufactured tobacco in the United Kingdom and the regulation of sales and prices. No restrictions will be imposed on the supply of tobacco to the troops at the front. In eastern Galicia, there has been a resumption of hostilities, according to an Austrian report, which states that the fighting was livelier. Remember, there was some time, remember we saw that, I think at one point we were looking up at smoking rates. It's like 96 or 98% or something like that of all British soldiers were smoking. Holy Moses. The economic situation in Russia is very serious, according to the statement put before the Congress of Officer Delegates from the front. Tell you one thing, if I was one of those 2 or 4% soldiers that didn't smoke, I'd probably be bloody rich selling my smokes. I can tell you that much. Wheat and other grain supply, I'd be using that, man. I'd be totally darn right. I'd pretend I'd be smoking my brains out and asking for extra rations so I could trade them. Wheat and other grain supplies are scarce, and the situation is not improved by the refusal of the peasants to part with their supplies except in exchange for farm implements. Interesting. Or cigarettes. I hope. More serious still is the shortage of supplies for the army, which, although somewhat improved, are far from normal. The supply of iron for the munitions factories also shows a considerable falling off. The minister declared that Russia is on the eve of a catastrophe unless the people generally, and the peasants particularly, display a greater spirit of self-sacrifice. Are you kidding me? A greater spirit of self-sacrifice. What else do you want them to do, for Christ and sakes? The fighting spirit of the Russian army is not wholly destroyed. I would want to revolt after reading that. Jesus. The fighting spirit of the Russian army is not wholly destroyed, judging by the resolution passed by the Congress of Officer Delegates from the front. The chief complaint of the army is that there is a shortage of artillery, and the infantry is compelled to charge the enemy and to break down wire defenses without artillery preparation. Oh my God, there's some wicked letters back and forth too from that 1917 book. I should bring it up. Oh my gosh, about back and forth. The soldiers like, please, brothers, don't starve us here, and so on and so forth. Like, we're fighting your fight. And oh my God, it's so cool shit. Anyways, oh my God, it's the last paragraph. Fighting on the Belgian front continues from day to day. So we didn't see the Serbian thing in here. I know it's from an earlier date then. Yesterday, the guns behind the Belgian line shelled the enemy's machine gun shelters and drew a lively reply from the German artillery. An enemy raiding party made an unsuccessful effort to reach a Belgian post. the guns were active all along the entire front during the day. And that's it. And hopefully that went well. And I hope you have a great remainder of your weekend and a great week coming up. And hopefully see you at 120 in a week. All right. See you later. Bye.